All right. All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. I hope you are doing fantastic, surviving out here in this crazy bear market. Nonetheless, Solana NFTs are still doing pretty well. Still have a ton of volume here within the ecosystem. Still plenty of opportunities here to make money, to double up your Solana stack. However, it looks like. So we'll be talking about that today. We'll be talking about Lily, of course. Lily minted over the weekend and has been doing tremendous numbers, almost 200K sold volume right now. We'll be talking about Claynosaurs. We'll be talking about pilots. Pilot list just came out, so there is tons to go over. Joe will not be joining us today. He's having some technical difficulties. What else is a stream without Joe's technical difficulties? But nonetheless, joining me as always is my wonderful co-host Dorian. Dorian, how you doing today, my man?
Yo, what's going on, guys? Every day's a holiday. I hope y'all are doing well. But yeah, man, I'm doing great, dude. I'm ready to get after it. So much to talk about. Even though the market's like declining fast, it's great to see some life in it. And that just shows how degen Solana is. It doesn't matter who'll be at one soul. It's like things are still going to pump.
Yeah, it's actually been pretty nice. You know, it's been fun to trade. I don't know if I'll ever have a week like I did with Utes and just making those rotations, but Lily's been great. It's been very fun to trade. I love the art. You know, Claynosaurs, that for me, this was a bullish signal for Claynosaurs because, you know, with how well Lily did, and it went up to almost 3x its mint price, even in public mint. If you got in at Lotus mint, I mean, it went up to 15 soul-ish. So there's a lot to talk about.
It exceeded Lotus Gang, which is incredible. You normally never see these secondary collections exceed the primary one, so it's pretty awesome to see.
Yeah, I think it's more of a like the anticipation behind it was just really good. They did a really good job marketing it. They had a nice little trailer for it. I think they didn't show too many previews, and I think that's good. They just showed outlines, and it was like kind of shadowed out and stuff. And I think there's just so much variation within this collection that every piece feels unique. Like everything has a nice, unique feel to it. And yeah, we'll definitely be getting into Lily. But first, of course, we're going to be talking about some market overview. So we are sitting at about 204,000 soul volume. Still chugging right along, man. I mean, there's still plenty of Solana flowing through the NFT ecosystem right now, which is good. The DeFi side of things, not so good. And I have said before, if you join any of the spaces we normally go to, like No Fluff, I've been on record saying that, soon to be Rare Fluff. We'll be seeing them in Miami for the Mixer here, not this weekend, but next. It's coming up quick. But I've been on record saying that look, NFTs are fun. They're where the degens go. It's where retail goes. But I think because it's so illiquid and it's hard to take massive positions, you're never going to see a ton of money go into the NFT side of things unless you're like on Ethereum. And even then, it's usually just the blue chips, the crypto punks, the Bases, the Zukis, maybe Doodles, and stuff like that. But I mean, you have to get up there in price for it to be worth any sort of movement for them to go into. So this is the fun side for us, but I think we need to heal the DeFi side of things. If
Yeah.
DeFi gets healed, then Solana starts pumping again. I really think that's the key to everything, and I've been saying that for a while. Nonetheless, this is fun for retail traders like us. This is why we're still showing up today. I'm having more fun now than I did back when we were at like 30K Sol volume, even though Sol was still like, 30, 40 bucks. This is way more fun because I know I can stack Solana so much easier on these trades. So I'm happy to see it. I'm happy to see movement in the market. I mean, Lily is closing in on 200K Sol volume, which you love to see for a new project. And Bunjil, I also said on our stream that Lily was probably the thing I was most excited for, and it lived up to expectations. So
it exceeded expectations, in my opinion.
yeah, I did not think it was going to run to 15. So my sweep of Lotus actually turned out to be a EV positive play, and I was excited for that because I was like, I'm just supporting Bunjil. I know Lily's going to be awesome. I did not expect it to do so well, so I've actually turned quite a profit. Got in and out of trades pretty quickly. I'm still waiting to sell some of them and de-risk a little bit, but then I'll just sit on like 3 Lily, 3 Lotus gang and just call it a day from there, and they'll all be paid for, which I think right now is probably the best thing you can do. And if they go to Valhalla, if Sol goes back to 1,000, great. If it goes to 0, at least I covered cost basis. But kind of want to get your take, Dorian. How are you feeling about the market right now?
Man, I'm feeling pretty optimistic about the market. Solana always has this thing where you see blips of liquidity inflow. We saw this several months with Utes when Sol was at 33 and it was ranging for a while. We saw that when Utes was Tubes finally came out, brought some activity back to the market, and we see it now with Lily. I wouldn't even say that even Utes kicked off this run too, and liquidity just trying to float into Lily, which bodes well for Cleanosaurs as well. Now it's just we're at the point that makes me nervous because we're about to see the revolving door of mints. It's going to, every project's going to keep pumping until one doesn't, and then that's going to mark the end of this musical chairs of liquidity. So, and in this market, it's not like new people are coming in. It's the same group of 30 of us trading against each other. So it's really, really important to know when that music stops, not to be the one holding the bag.
Yeah, you bring up a really good point because I was actually just going to go into that. HelloMoon.io, not a show sponsor or anything, just our favorite platform to look at the Solana ecosystem at whole. Just looking at daily first signers, and we saw the peak of it around OK Bears. We had about 400,000 new signers per day. So you're talking about 400,000 new wallets a day. And I mean, we had a ton of people coming into the Solana ecosystem. It's fallen off a cliff. And that's obviously probably a byproduct of price. The fact that these NFTs could go up in 10 Sol, the floor price, and that's only $100. You know what I mean? So for a lot of people, it's just like, sure, you can stack Solana. If you believe in Solana, this is still a great time to trade. But for the people that are profit maxis, which I don't blame them, this it's like a blip on the map for a lot of people, so you have to make like an insane trade, and even then you're talking like a few $1,000s. So it's tough out here, but I think this is the time that back when it was 30K Sol volume, I said I wasn't interested in making trades because there was no volume going, right? I'm not flipping anything right now. There's nobody buying anything. And for me, it's like you're trading lunch money. You still are trading lunch money. However, I know at Sol at this level, it feels like a no-brainer if I can just continue to stack Sol if I see a competitive edge, which I have been, and it's been good. But we're down to less than 100,000 new people per day, daily first signers. And that could even just be like, new wallets created for these same people. So it's really hard to gauge right now. It's not looking so great as far as getting new people into the ecosystem. And I think that's the one thing that like I'm very weary about. And that's why I've been like taking positions and exiting pretty quickly. I've been flipping a lot lately. and I just want to see what happens from here on out. But I'm not going to be caught holding the bag. I made sure that whatever position I take, I'm taking profit pretty quickly, pretty aggressively, and just covering the cost basis of whatever I get into if I believe in the project, or I'm just riding the momentum and getting on out.
Yeah, dude, no, you've been absolutely killing it recently. Like your trade on the nouns, and then you doing it with Lily. You just been on fire. And then your tubes trade, dude. I think what you came up like your soul increase has probably been like at least 100%, if not way more in the past couple weeks. So hats off to you, dog. And for those who've been watching the show for a while, Bison has talked about all his trades. So if you want to catch up on them, go back and watch the previous episodes. But one thing that I'm not good at is like actively trading like you. So in this market right now, all I'm focused on is stacking SOL, dude, and rotating into some of these blue chips while the dollar value is down. I think that's kind of the best play. And one, I guess this is a little pessimistic but pragmatic thing that I recognize on this most recent drop. NFTs are not a good hedge against the USD value drop in Solana. We saw when these prices dropped, the USD value plummeted from 38 to 12, $14. What happened to the floor price of NFTs? They didn't increase. They fell by like 20 to 50%, depending on the collection as well. So in these market conditions, the best bet for me right now is to accumulate these top tier projects that I think will be around for several years, or just stack spot SOL, because it's too risky flipping lunch money for me to get into any of these new mints.
Right. It is. I mean, it's tough. If you don't know that you have an edge here, it doesn't make sense to be trading right now, because you could be stuck in a position that, look, some of these new mints are not going to make it. I mean, the runway you're getting with even Lily probably generated about, I wanted to say 31,000 SOL. You're looking at what, $400,000? That's nothing compared to what mints were generating back in January, back in December, right? When SOL was at its all-time high. A one SOL mint, even for a 10K collection, you're generating like 2.5 mil, so the amount of runway you have then versus now is just like incredibly low. So it's tough. I think Claynosaurus is probably going to be our best gauge moving forward, how well that does. Because that is going to be an 8 to 10 SOL mint. It might even be more. I'm not even sure because of what happened with SOL's price. But if we start seeing Claynosaurus pop off and we start seeing Claynosaurus hold a good floor like Lily is right now, Lily's held a 9 to 10 SOL floor pretty well.
That's good.
That I think we have a new standard for SOL NFTs right now. And it's more fun because the projects that are minting out and are doing well are ones that have a vetted team behind them, that are actually doing things and are not scared to build in a bear market. And I think that is like such a telltale sign of a project that's actually going to make it. So if you can build now, I'm bullish on you long term. So I'm very curious to see what happens. And we have so few mints that I can analyze these at a much higher degree compared to when it was just like mint after mint after mint every hour on the hour. It was crazy. So
we're like 3-4 mints in one day, dude. Those are the times, man. Just mint and print season. Like you just get a whitelist for something and then it just makes you money. It's like, oh, I miss those days, man.
It was simpler times, but I think now we're testing our metal here. And, for me, I like it just because, this is where I really get to learn, trading style. Plus it's also, I look at the USD value and it makes, I've been much more risk on because I know like, bro, at the end of the day, what happens? You lose like, let's say 3 SOL on a trade. That's $30. Like this is basically paper trading right now. And I know that sounds crazy to a lot of people, but this is the best time to test your metal. And when we do rebound, whether it is on Solana, whether it is on Polygon, which we'll definitely be talking about, Matic coming on into the foray with Magic Eden, just announced that they're bringing on Matic as their third blockchain. It's going to be interesting, and we'll definitely be talking about what Polygon's done well versus Solana and everything in between. But right now, ecosystem's still churning along. I'd be curious to see if it still keeps up at this rate. If we go down to single-digit SOL, we've held double-digit pretty well. Been scary at times, definitely been scary, but we're still holding. 11.79 was my line to hold on Solana, and we keep going back above it. We wick down and we keep going back above it. So if we hold here, I'm optimistic, cautiously optimistic that maybe we found our bottom, but I don't know, man. It's just getting uglier and uglier across the board, and it's
Yeah,
not just
dog.
Sol either. It's the big thing I said about Sol is it felt like we've found the bottom, but with Bitcoin and Ethereum, they still have a ton more way to go down. Like they
Yeah.
could way down. Like Bitcoin could go down to 12K, Ethereum could go down to 800, and that's naturally going to bring down the rest of the ecosystem. So that's the only thing I'm like really cautious about right now. I'm watching those like a hawk. Um, Other than that, still looks pretty good. So,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah, dog. Just like the whole macro, at least the crypto macro landscape, it's just atrocious, dog. It's like I see Solana going down, but then I look at everything else. I'm like, oh my god, this is why. It's just like so bad out there, man.
yeah, yeah. It's I'm trying. That's why I'm saying, like, I've been saying it for a while now. Be liquid. Liquid is king right now, and
Mhm.
so I'm taking positions. If I see like a pretty easy 50% plus gain on my
Mhm.
Solana stack, I'm going to take it. But I then have to watch out for Solana. If Solana nukes, like there goes that 50% gain becomes like a 10% gain
Yeah.
real quick. So
Mhm.
um,
Yeah.
just watching it all, man. Just watching it
It's
all.
so crazy, dude. It's just like I've become such a USD versus Sol maxi from the crash to 33 to 15. It's insane. I managed to sell a two, like it really drove home the point with me. I managed to sell my tube for 97 Sol when Sol was $38. So I netted about 4K. Tubes are 2x from that now and still nowhere close to the USD value of it.
Right.
And I'm just like, yeah, man, I can't in this market. I can't. The best thing right now for me, because even though things do pop off, I just don't find the time invested worth trying to plot out which ones are going to do a 2x. Dude, just like a 2x at this point, it's like, congrats, you made $20. If the mint is like 2 Sol, like it's just not worth it for me at this point. I'd rather just use that time, create shorts for RareFUD and do other things to help grow the brand and just stack Sol, vice try to flip JPEGs.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, it is that point where, I've said it before. The hard truth is that you probably make more money right now in your
Mhm.
W-2 job, in your 1099
Yep.
job, whatever that looks like for you. Focusing on that versus being in JPEGs right now. And
Yep.
that being said, like still allocate time. I'm just saying scale
Mhm.
back
Oh
a
yeah,
little
yeah.
bit.
Don't
So
exit.
yeah,
Don't
that's
exit.
when you get
I'm
real
not
wrecked.
exiting.
Yeah, this is when fortunes are to be found. I mean,
Mhm.
you can really find some really good positions for the next couple of years. So that's what I'm still doing.
Yep.
Let's talk a little bit first. Let's talk about Magic Eden integrating Polygon. So they're going multi-chain with Polygon, just announced as a third supported blockchain on Magic Eden. I am scared of Polygon. I am there's a reason for it. And I think Smoothie, shout out Smoothie, actually had a really good tweet on my thought process of it, where he was like, okay, so hear me out. Matic has never really had a great community. They haven't. The one thing that they've
No.
always lacked is community. It never seemed like it had a grassroots thing. They kind of had some ETH support, but it was mainly just like you're building on ETH. You're basically an ETH
Mhm.
EVM, a layer two. Um, so we'll support you from afar, but we're not getting on your blockchain. Now we have Reddit NFTs. They're getting a bunch of Web2 partnerships. Gaming has been popping off over there. I knew this was going to happen because Bankless came out with a podcast. If you guys haven't listened to it, it's about let's say 6 months ago, maybe 7 months ago, where the old YouTube gaming, the head of YouTube gaming, actually jumped ship to go over to Polygon Studios, which is their gaming sector over at Polygon. And that's when I started, raising an eyebrow saying, Matic, may have some movement here. And they've been just absolutely crushing it on the business development side.
Mhm. Mhm.
Uh, the reason I'm scared is because if they get integrated into Magic Eden, Ethereum has had no traction on Magic Eden. It's had zero. Like, I don't know anybody that's bought anything on Magic Eden, Ethereum wise, because like, why would you? Especially with Blur coming out, a lot of people went over to
Mhm.
Blur. Um, so it never really had traction over there. Polygon needs traction. They needed a good marketplace. And I think Magic Eden is that answer. And so Solana people continue to capitulate. They start seeing, price go down. If we go down to single digits, you're starting to, I already see talk of it. Like, okay, what's the next chain we're going to? And, we kind of had a preliminary talk with Aptos.
Yeah.
Well, now we're talking about viable other chains. Like, I actually think Matic is a viable other chain. Sui's coming out next year. I think they'll have growing pains, but it is an easier platform to develop on. From many of my developer friends, Move is just an easier language to learn coming over from Web 2. And then you have all these partnerships, and if you start seeing like these partnerships pop up, and Matic still holds, it's crushing it right now. In this bear market, Matic has been one of the best performing assets. So
Yeah.
I think this culminates into a lot of people will start seeing, seamless, frictionless way to go over to Matic through Magic Eden. And we may see some jumping of ship, and we're already down bad on first signers. We are not gaining new people into this ecosystem. That we'll start seeing some people move over to Matic. And I think that's what scares me. It's something that I think should be on everybody's radar. Is don't be caught holding the bag. And that could be Solana too. But at the end of the day, I think Solana is so resilient. I think a lot of people are ignoring the partnerships that we are already in talks with, coming out with a mobile phone, talking about Google Cloud as being our validator cloud of choice. We're more decentralized than Bitcoin. Just went past its threshold for mining, where miners are now shutting off in droves right now because it doesn't make any sense. You're operating at a loss. And we saw this back when Bitcoin went down below 3,200 in 2018. So it's just a really complicated dynamic here. And then we still don't know FTX fallout. Genesis looks like it's on the brink of fallout. There's just so many moving parts here. It makes my head hurt. Door, help me make sense of this. What do you think about this Matic partnership?
Yeah, the Matic partnership with Magic Eden, I don't really get phased by it. As you said, Matic doesn't really seem like it has an organic NFT community there. All these NFTs that are adopting their platform, such as Reddit and things, I know they're using, I don't know, which marketplace is Reddit NFT using right now?
I think they're on OpenSea. You can get them through OpenSea.
Okay, yeah, but I am honestly, for me, I think all these companies and stuff will develop their own marketplace for these people to utilize. It's like I think marketplaces add a level of friction for new users of NFTs. So I think companies would just be better off building their own system to like buy and sell within their app or whatnot, not than going to a third party listing there and trying to direct people there. So I don't really see it as like a major thing, honestly. We saw the stuff with Atos, people moving over there. Yeah, they moved over there to pump their bags and came back. And I think the same thing will happen with Polygon. It's like people just are profit maxis. They'll look for an opportunity to make money and then come back to Solana. As far as Solana's longevity, we've already established it's like Solana has a core community on NFTs, but I do think it's lacking in the DeFi area. And that's important to any ecosystem if you want to see it grow. But we are progressing in the right direction. There are bullish catalysts for Solana ecosystem as a whole in the future, specifically through the Solana phone. So even though things are extremely grim right now, and I just think that has to do with overall macro conditions, Solana's here to stay. And I plan on holding and accumulating for a while.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, I think it's silly to jump ship right now. Like, Solana's down 95%. You guys now just want to decide you want to jump ship. Like, it seems like a really terrible time to just not, if you're already still in positions, like I still have a hefty soul bag, I'm still in soul NFTs. Like, why would I sell here? USD wise, what am I gaining? Nothing. Cutting ship right now just seems silly with how many core catalysts we have coming up on the horizon. And we're already going through the growing pains. We already went through the growing pains. That Sui, I think, is an interesting one. I am going to be working towards that airdrop, which, maybe we should put out a tweet, Door, on RareFUD Radio's account on how to get the Sui airdrop. Because I think a lot of people should be looking at that. At the very least, it's free money. But Matic is the one that, like, I'm not like terrified of it or anything like that. But, the partnerships are big. And I think the thing that kind of gets me is that they can tap into ETH liquidity very easily over on Polygon. And that's just something that's not very easy to do on Solana. So as in terms of the people who are in Web3, Polygon makes more sense, especially with ETH still resuming its position at, they have more transactions, more buyers than us right now. They have resumed their post as top dog in the NFT ecosystem. And it's hard to ignore. So I do think this should be on everybody's radar. Not saying red alert, panic button just yet, but you should definitely keep an eye on it. And we'll see how this progresses with Magic Eden. It could be just another fumble like they did with Ethereum. Like that was probably way too many resources to be spending on that to get nothing in return. And so Magic Eden's probably feeling the heat too, but we'll see what happens with it, man. I think it should be on everybody's radar, but nonetheless, we're still cooking over here in Solana, and Lily is definitely at the forefront of that right now. 200K sold volume. I think we just crossed it. If not, we're very close. We are at 199.6K Solana volume. Been cooking. It has been cooking, and the art has it's lived up to the expectations that I thought it would. I thought Bunjil crushed it. There's so much variety in here.
It's pretty good.
You know, this is the one instance that hands look good in here. This is the one thing I said is like, you know, with Jacon, with Vandal, I'm not sure why hands had to be static, and you had some weird stuff in there, like the fish and you know, some, I don't know, it's so weird, dude. But they crushed it on this. The generative layers that they did on all of this looks so good. The shading looks incredible. It's a very unique art style. Like Bunjil absolutely smashed this out of the park. I do think Lily will hopefully hold this like 9 to 10 soul floor, and just kind of resume flight from there. And they're actually building stuff, and they've been very transparent. They've been good with announcements. I think they rolled this out really effectively. That look, even in a bear market, this thing's thriving right now. So we'll see what happens with it. Some of these rares are going for, I saw that Ultima Sword, Venusaur sold for like 90 soul last night.
Incredible.
That was crazy. So, I mean, some of these rares are going for, you know, 50 to 90 soul, and that's a good sign. We love seeing those above floor buys. That's one of the things we always say here is that you watch that. That's an indicator that's not really talked about enough. And that usually means bullish momentum. It means those people are usually, that's a very illiquid position to take. Like NFTs are liquid, rares are very illiquid.
Super illiquid.
Yeah, they're super illiquid. So if people are buying those, that usually means they have a longer time horizon, which means that a lot more people are going to come up and buy the floor and all that good stuff. So something to watch. I love Lily. What's your take on it, Dor?
Yeah, man, it's great to see Bunjil succeed, man. And a lot of it, people ragged on him for buying like a Boogle pretty much at the top. But I think a lot of those connections that he made within Boogles has helped him to promote Lily even more and to really gain his name throughout this ecosystem. Bunjil's an awesome dude. We had him on Cyber Samurai's The Dojo, and he's super intelligent, funny, loves One Piece. So I'm a huge fan of him. But it's great to see Lily succeed.
Yeah. They definitely have nice traits in here. You know, homages and cameos. You know, the Pokemon stuff is always going to slap. You know, once people found out that was actually a trait, people were aping into those. Those held a nice floor, and I made, that was where I made the most money, was flipping those. I sold my Charizard at like 45 or something. I bought it for 15. You know, and my Venusaur I bought for 15, sold for 30. You just always know when you see Pokemon homages, they're probably going to cook. It doesn't matter the rarity or anything like that. But a lot of people are going for the ones that look close to them, like they resemble them, and using them as PFPs. And that's always a good sign to see. And what they're building over at Lily is kind of trying to be the home page, the landing page for Web3, which I think is such a good idea. I don't know why a lot of people haven't thought of that. It's going to be like a learning library. It's going to be the go-to place for all of that. I would love to see them. You know, I know Basquire, who we had on RareFUD Radio with Jord. I would love to see him and Bunjil work together. I know they're close friends, so that would be cool to see. I just think there's a lot of potential here that it's nice to know what the utility is as soon as you mint it, and they reveal art within an hour of it minting out. Like that, no shade to Frank or anything like that. I know they were working on that hard, but this is nice to see. Like it is, it's rewarding to see. Once you mint something, you're going to see it within an hour. And the art was ready to roll, and they were ready to roll it out. So props.
And it didn't dump post mint reveal. That's
no, it didn't. I mean, they had like an hour pre-reveal that it did go down to like 4 soul or something like that. So I know a lot of people were like, oh, here we go. You know, it's the post-reveal dump to see negative price movement. I'm getting out. If you held like I did, you were rewarded. I mean, that stuff started taking off And over the weekend, I've never seen. It's been a while since I've seen movement like this. So, the only thing that scares me is that we're at about 2,000 listed. That's a lot. That's a lot of walls to take down if you want to see any positive price movement. So, for me, I'm scaling out of positions right now. I will look to re-enter, especially if we go lower. But I really want to see that listed count go back down. It was at like 1,500, 1,300 at one point. That's kind of the number I want to start targeting. Less than 10%. That's really good. So we'll see what happens with it. But props to the team. I love the rollout. I'm happy to see them succeed. And I'm very curious to see how they execute on the building out phase. So we should have a little note for you guys. Make sure you're holding a Lotus Gang and a Lily. If you want any chance to get one of the 1-on-1 legendaries, there are going to be 10 of them. So if you want my personal opinion, I think Lotus Gang is actually a better play right here at these levels. Just, thinking about supply, it was kind of like the Adam Ape drop with Brave List. You look at the supply and you say, if I need one of each and there's only 4,000 of the other one and 10,000 of this, and I'm looking at the owners, there's 1,200 less on Lotus Gang. Well, there's 1,200 people that if they want a chance of the legendary, probably going to need a Lotus Gang. Therefore, buy Lotus Gang. So it's just that thought process of like, what's a good play right now? Lotus Gang looks undervalued compared to Lily. So that would be my 2 cents. We always like explaining trades here, explaining philosophy behind it. And I think Lotus Gang right now is definitely the play. We do have a special guest joining us right now. Joe, nice to see you back on the internet.
Yes. Clear, crisp, concise.
Let's go.
We're here, baby. I've been here in spirit, okay? I've been here in energy. Now I'm here in voice. I'm glad to be here.
Glad to have you here, dog.
Joe, how you been doing on Lily?
I actually did well on Lily. I only did 2 plays with Lily. I had my Lotus Gang mint, which was 1 soul. Then I scooped another one around 4.5 soul. I sold that one at 14, and I'm holding on to my second that's tied to my 1 Lotus. So I'm going to keep 1-on-1 allocation. So I didn't do too crazy, but made a nice, 12 plus soul. My real win has been scrap. I'm up about 42 soul on my swing trade with scrap right now.
Let's go.
Beautiful segue. Thank you so much, Joe, because that leads us perfectly into pilots. Pilots are ramping up now. So pilot list has been announced. If you guys haven't gone and applied yet, this is using the same Ute list application that we saw with Utes. It is over on Tayo Pilots Twitter. That is at Tayo Pilots. If you scroll down, I don't know why they don't have it pinned. The last time I checked, it wasn't their pinned tweet. I wish they made it their pinned tweet.
I had to dig for it.
Yeah, you have to dig for it a little bit, but I think it's like 10 to 15 tweets down. If you go through and check it out, you can apply just like you applied for Utes. There seems to be a nice mix of accounts, just like we saw with Utes, but I would say even more so that smaller accounts are getting appreciated just because it's not as hyped as Utes. Like Utes was the mega hype, mint of the year besides maybe OK Bears. But even then that was like post mint price action play of the year. Right. But it's great. I'm very curious to see what they roll out. Dude, I just think if I wanted one blue chip right now, it would either be an SMB or a Tayo. I've been going back and forth between those two. I think those two are the ones that, SMB just has that piece of history with Solana. And DAA you can throw in there too, but I think SMB they have a little bit more of a builder mentality with them. And Monkey DAO is just goated. And Tayo, it's just building out cool stuff for the future. And whether it's on Solana, whether it's on Ethereum, whether it's on Polygon or whatever, that is a cracked dev team. And they will make stuff happen. So that one feels like the safer play to me. I am kicking myself for not buying at 100 soul. They're now at 150. Whatever. That's okay. Nonetheless, Tayo doing really cool things. And I'm very curious to see what they do with pilots. I'm going to kick it over to Dorian, our resident Tayo expert. What's going on with pilots? What's the play here?
Oh man, the pilots play is extremely complex, man. There's like so many different levels to this. It's insane. So I know Joe cooked off of scrap, which I can't wait to hear about because scrap had a run up from like 10, 15 cents to like 60 yesterday or a couple days ago. And I purchased scrap around 40-ish cents. I mean, I'm accumulating passively through my Tayo, but I picked up some for the pilots list, which I got. Congrats to me. I picked up some passively through that. So my play with pilots for everybody out there, it's so complex. So like right now we can value one pilot at 20 SOL. Why is that? Because the price of the 5-liter oil is 20 SOL. So why would a pilot be less than the free mint of the oil? So with SOL, is like you really want to try to apply for this pilot list and hope you get it, because right now it costs 10 SOL with scrap being around 45, 50 cents. So we're going to assume a 2x at this point. Now, if the floor of Tayo and infants go up, Tayo infants go up, then we could see the floor of potentially pilots increase, because usually the second collection is half of the first. And right now, infants are sitting a little lower. So if there's some bullish announcements for graphite or staking comes out before the pilots mints, that could drive the price of infants up, which would also drive the price of pilots up as well. So with the mint price, or the profit range that you should be looking for Tayo right now, could be anywhere from like 20 to 30 SOL. So if you have a 10-liter oil, you should be listing that optimistically anywhere between 50 to 60 SOL to break even, but it could go up more to that. So as you can see, just from that brief synopsis, it's super dynamic, and your best entry right now is to just try to apply for the pilot list and not really pick up any oil, or if you do pick up oil, because it could pump. But yeah, picking up oil would be risky now, because even a couple weeks ago, 5-liter oils were down to like 5 SOL. It was nuts again, man.
Yeah. It's curious to see what happens, because I think oil will have more longevity to it than just going with the scrap right now. I think that's what the premium's coming from, because it couldn't just stop at pilots. There could be some future airdrops that come with oil as well, and I think that's the speculation driving the
That's what he's
premium.
planned.
Yeah, and I would imagine there's going to be some very valuable airdrops that come with it. So I think a lot of people are probably banking on that speculation, and that's why we've seen just oil rip right now. I was lucky enough to get into scrap again. I've got like 10 SOL worth, and it's worth about 13 SOL. So I made a nice 30%. Woo! Not Joe level. Joe, what did you get in at?
I averaged in from 16 to 23. But what I did was I took free dust that I've accumulated from staking my DGOD, and I swapped that on Phantom straight to scrap. So it was almost like a free trade there. But honestly, dude, I've back tested one charting play I do for SPLs and NFTs. I only do it when there's a lot of volume and hype. But it is once there's an A and B move, that B move is the bottom of the swing low. Then the next swing high is always to the golden pocket, right? This golden fib extension. It's at 0.618 to 0.5. It then confluence there, and then a break to the 1.618, right? This happened. I've back tested like 70% to 30% failed to succeed to failure rate. And with scrap, it's looking like it wants 70 to 90 cents. Like it really is looking like that's a spot for an exit. So that's what I'm looking for. I'm going to keep enough scrap to mint my pilots with, and I'll sell the rest in my bag, because I do have, like Dorian said, that passive scrap maker with my Gen 1, right? So I know I'm always getting scrap in the back end. So I think I might look for that little exit place there. So, but yeah, got lucky with that entry for sure.
That was a nice play, Joe. I
know, right?
I looked at it at 20 cents, and I said, eventually they'll come out with it. I just didn't know when pilots was going to be announced. And that run up, man, that is clean. And it does look like it wants to reach up. Joe does, if you guys are listening to this and Joe's talking crazy to you, he's using fib numbers, Fibonacci extensions and retracements and everything like that. He is a magic voodoo wizard when it comes to fib numbers. I don't know how he does it. But yeah, maybe you want to write a thread on that, Joe, because your fib work is actually, I always thought fibs were just like magical fairy dust woo nonsense, and you seem to be using them pretty effectively in your trading. So I think a lot of people would love to see it.
Dude,
anytime Joe puts numbers on a chart, dude, or like draws lines, it happens, man. That's why it's like I get angry when Joe doesn't draw that line of SOL going back to 240. It disappoints me every time.
Yeah, man. You know what? I appreciate that, guys, so much. I think the common misconception, everybody thinks pulling a fib retracement is super easy because you just snap two magnets to a chart and then there you go. but it's really the nuance of your A, B, or C move and what swing low to swing high you're playing. And it's very pivotal to do it off a pivot point. So yeah, Bison, I think that might be a good thread, because it's funny. I see a lot of people in our industry using fibs, and they're ridiculous. And they don't even work unless you have, like liquidity, like Tayo has right now, or did for the past couple of 48 hours. Like, it's a very short term frame for that to chart it, and for it to hold true, you really need volume to stay steady. So that 30% failure is when that volume doesn't stay steady. But I think with the pilot, how they're doing with Dust Labs, they have the pilot list out, Scrap's coming, and they're doing a really good job. Like I said, I wanted them to do this, and Tom did it, which is awesome, is the clean and crisp infographics, right? Just there it is. You can check it out for your sharding, for your Tayo Gen 1, Gen 2, you know what I'm saying? Everything's clean and crisp, and I really think that helps from a marketing standpoint for people that want to be onboarded into the system. But how funny is crypto Twitter, guys? We talked about this forever. Scrap is going to be the play. Oil's going to be the play. And then all of a sudden you see FOMO kick in, and it's just like, I have to fight myself. I'm like, oh, should I grab an oil? And it's like, no, you missed it, you know? It's just funny to see, man.
No, dude, I agree with you. And that's why it's like buying oil now. And I just talked about it. It's like, I don't know if the move is to buy oil now. Like, the move is like, if you apply for pilot list, is to pick up scrap now. I think it's a good time to pick up scrap now, because like we were even saying, it's like you're seeing this going to 70 or 90 cents. It's like, yo, that's still what, like 20% increase from this point, or even close to 50. So like, I think scrap is the move, even if you're not able to mint pilots. Because once again, I think we'll see people wait until the last minute, similar to Dust, and it's going to pump potentially back to $1.30, and that's an easy trade right there.
Yeah. And I do see like us closing in on $1 would probably be my price target if I were to exit. So, I mean, you're looking at a pretty nice 2x from here. You just have to make sure that you're managing risk, everybody, and know that scrap is like it's a pretty thin order book. So when you go to sell, make sure you're doing it in waves, not all at once.
Oh, Bison, you know what? I think you want to talk about that, because I had someone DM me that, and they said, they said, I just bought like 15 Solana worth of scrap, right? And then they got scared and went to panic sell, and it was like automatically 11.5 because of the slippage. I don't think people realize that. Like that, you're not getting a 1-to-1, right, with your slippage, guys. You're not getting all. I don't know how to explain it, actually, to be honest.
I'm happy to. So with slippage, basically what it means is, let's say I bought 10,000 scrap right now. That's a pretty large buy. When you see what the price is on something like a swap on your Phantom, whether you go to Hello Moon or anything like that, you're just seeing what the price would be if you were to buy it at that price level. That doesn't mean that 10,000 scrap exists at that price for people actually selling it at that price. It could just be 1,000. So what happens? You go to the next tranche, right? Which could be, let's say you're buying it at 50 cents. The next tranche could be like all the way up at 55 cents, right? It could be a thin order book. And that could be, 5,000. And then like 60 cents could have the next 4,000, right? And so your average price is close to 55 cents, not the 50 cents you were seeing on order books. And the same thing goes on the sell side. So if you're trying to sell that 10,000 scrap, well, there could only be 1,000 at whatever price that is listed on that swap index. So whether you're using Jupiter Aggregator, Hello Moon uses Jupiter, or you're using Phantom, which finds the best path to do so, but you're going to be finding it in tranches. And in a thin order book like this, where scrap is only 3 million, because 2 million's burned right now. And that 3 million does not all exist on the order book, right? So you have to find those numbers. If you want to go in and do it properly, you can look at Orca. You can look at some of these order books that actually list out how much is listed at each price level. And then you can kind of just parse it from there. If you have a large amount of scrap, just know that you're probably going to see some slippage. Even like 500 plus, you're probably going to see some slippage. So if you are buying scrap, know that it has a thinner order book than if you were to buy Sol, which, you can pretty much buy like as much Sol as you want at the price indicated, because it's a thick order book. That's really the difference in slippage. So if you guys are looking to learn trading or anything like that, liquidity is king. It also matters on order books, right? So we can talk about order books. Maybe we put all this stuff together, guys, because I do think this is a time for learning. And a lot of people, this is where profits can be made. So we can definitely talk about that too. But yeah, that's slippage in a nutshell. Basically, you're just seeing a listed price. That doesn't mean all of what you're trying to sell is listed at that list price. It could just be in blocks. So be careful of that. But pilots, it's going to be 12,500 collection. So not exactly that 15K mark that we see with Utes. But it is a bigger collection. It's way bigger than Tayo and Gen 2 combined, which is a 2121 and then a 1500-ish collection. So you're looking at about 3,600. That's a nice multiple. And I think that's one of the things I talked about is when you do these next iterations of a project, you want it to be a bigger collection size than your original project. We saw it with D-Gods and Utes. We've seen it with Lotus Gang and Lily now. And I think pilots are going to do the same thing. And I think it's going to be really healthy to see a lot of volume go on there. I think the play and the rotations, if you're trying to play these mints, is definitely going to be play Lily still. There's still really good volume on there if you want to. I just saw a sweep go from 9.5 to 9.9, so still might be made there. Clanosaurus comes out. I guarantee you Clanosaurus is going to have some volume behind it. We'll talk about that in a second. And then rotate it into pilots because I think pilots are coming after that. So that's the play. If you guys want to know the liquidity chain there, because everybody's playing musical chairs right now, get in positions, out of positions. If you want to hold a project, make sure you're covering your cost basis and move on out. That's it. Simple, easy peasy, done and dusted, right? Make sure you're getting those good, nice, low entries and just watch the market.
Agreed. Hey,
Yeah,
here's
dog.
a quick thing to look out for you guys too. A quick piece of alpha, right? This is my trading mind, right? I'm looking at now where no one else is talking about it, right? Is dust. Why? It is gas. So think about 13,000 some Utes trying to stake, then withdraw their D points or U points. All this is going to be 1 to 2 to 3 dust, right? No more soul is going to be for fees. It's going to be dust. So dust is gas, essentially, right? So with this, guys, you're going to see a 20 to 60% spike when staking is announced. I'm letting you know that right now. It's going to be, you can get orders in. It's going to be a spike because that's how people move in this ecosystem. They go, oh shit, I got to go stake my Utes. Then they go, wait, I need 10 dust. Then they go swap it for 10. Now that times 10,000, right? And if you're thinking that's not going to happen, it is because guess what? D-Gods need it too, right? So now you need your points off of there to go for a raffle or whatever it is. That's another dust transaction, guys. So start thinking about that in your head, right? Watch the price action for that and keep your eyes and ears to the announcement board, right? Because if you can play that, it might be a little tricky to time. That could be a nice quick liquidity pop for you guys as well. So it's a quick alpha drop.
Yeah.
That's real good, Joe.
I've been in dust since 30 cents now, so I've seen a nice, pretty good swing with that. It's at 38 cents now, but yeah, I just think people are underplaying dust, man. Eventually, what we've seen with D-Gods, it takes time over there, but when they execute it, it does get executed, and they are going. Dude, I think people are underestimating how goated Kevin is. That man is legitimately one of the most talented.
$1 billion worth of businesses, like 1 billion almost, guys.
Yeah,
like what?
Yeah, I got to. I never knew like his docs personality. Like I knew he was big in Web 2, but once I started seeing like, he's VP of engineering or something at Instacart or something like that. I started digging into his profile and like this dude, he's clearly the most talented. Like we praised Tom and deservedly so. Tom is goated, multiple Web 2 exits. Kevin has done that on steroids. Like Kevin has done that for years and years past Tom. Tom is like a savant, right? He's 23 and just clearly a genius. Kevin was that guy. He's been that guy for forever. So him coming over to D-God, I just think people are underestimating it. Eventually, I want to get my Ute back. I'm not sure if I ever want to go into D-Gods. It's pretty pricey, and I just think like I would rather have a Ute, Tayo, and an SMB just so I have my three blue chips covered, and we'll cover that. But
super solid. Honestly, Bison, I think there's more of an allure for Utes anyway. Cross chain, cross community, any of that nature. D-Gods is very altruistic. It's got a very nuanced art. It's edgy, rough. It's a whole different look. Utes is colorful. It pops. Utes and Lily are honestly it makes me feel good looking at them. Like just emotionally, I don't know why, it just appeases me. Both of those art styles, just very clean and almost like any age group could chill with them. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. So yeah, I feel that. I think Utes is a strong play, but I think we will see a nice little return in Utes once we have staking out and people are okay. This is the cool shit. Okay, this is what we're waiting for. Let me go empty some of my bag. So I think there'll be a chance to get them at a discounted price here after the short term pump. Like obviously a short term pump and then a nice retracement after. Maybe to 125, 130 and back down sub 105s.
I'm having a hard time finding the Ute I vibe with most. I'll be honest with you guys. I don't like the hair on Utes. I think you are a Yeti. You should not have hair.
Yeah, or keep it the same color. I agree.
Yeah,
Colors of fur if you got the hair, because who has the hair different from their? You know what I'm saying? It doesn't work.
The Backstreet Boys back in the 90s. Yeah, you got frosted tips, bro. What are you talking about, dude? But yeah, the hair throws me off, and then just the heavy focus on eyewear. Some of the eyewear just looks not meh to me, and if they didn't have so much eyewear and or kept it more simple, like some of these the eyewear, the meaning behind them, like the Monet squares and the pink Budapest and like all that's awesome to me as somebody who has found himself loving art more and more by the day. I love the homage to it, but some of it's just like overplayed for me, and some of the color palette, for color theorists, like he was digging into color theory, some of the colors clash, bro. And I'm sitting there like, what do you mean color theory, bro? I don't know. Look, at the end of the day, I still love the Utes art. I think it gets unwarranted, unnecessary hate, but some of the stuff I kind of see, I'm like, yeah, it's hard to find a floor Ute for me that I vibe with. And some of the traits I do vibe with got way too out of hand. You know what I mean? Like way too out of hand with the pricing. And I'm just like, I don't want to pay that. So that's it. I'm off my Utes high horse. I think they are goated. I think eventually they will execute on their plans and it will blow people away. And that's that. Don't fade D-gods. We did so in the past. And, that's a stupid idea. It always ends up negative for you. So moving on, let's talk about Claynosaurs and then we'll go into an alpha corner. Claynosaurs. I'm much more bullish on them now. I am much more bullish on them now. I just wanted to, I think Lily was the best sentiment test that we could have possibly had going into Claynosaurs, where I would be interested in possibly minting one or two on public if it does reach public. I'm not going to ape into it. I'm not going to do a pop heads. Pop heads was not a great play by me, but I just love the art. So I still hold my pop heads. I sold off a few in profit, but other than that, I'm a fan of art. What can I say? And I do think eventually they'll execute over there as well, some of their plans. Nonetheless, Claynosaurus is really good, guys. I just look at it and I'm like, man, some of the trailers they're coming out with, like a lot of people are saying like, oh, this is going to be the Disney of Web3. And I know that sounds ridiculous. And it takes, Disney was not built overnight, y'all. Like it wasn't, but the potential is there. I can see this being a really fun project that they're actually cranking out. It's what I envision Bubble Goose to do, is come through. If you are an IP focused, a brand focused play, come through with deliverables already. And they already have trailers that look really good and they're in-house and they have a goated background. So I'm warming up to the idea that Claynosaurs might actually cook. I hate that it's minting on Saturday. Who decided to mint on a holiday Saturday? That is a terrible time to mint. Luckily, that may give us good entry points. So maybe you don't mint. Maybe you just see what happens on minting out. But bro, we still are very much like US consumership of NFTs is still pretty high percentage. Like I know it is a global thing, but like we probably make up about 30% at least of NFT sales. You're losing 30% of your user base because we're all watching football or something, getting fat or like in a coma because we were just in Thanksgiving, bro. Like, no, why? Who told them to mint on Saturday of Thanksgiving, bro?
No, I agree with you, dog. I was, so a couple weeks ago when we were talking about Claynosaurs, I was a bit skeptical, but those are different market conditions. Once again, we saw the volume that Lily has, and I think some of that will be rotated into Claynosaurs. And I think people are adjusting to the current price of Sol a little bit more than they have in the past. So people are warming up to like higher mint prices because the value of USD is down. But based on previous experience, I have no faith in the Solana NFT community. Zero, dog. So I'm expecting this thing to mint out. And let's say, okay, it pumps to 20. But even as you said last week, Bison, I don't think it's going to hold, man. I think we'll see this thing go at mint or below. I just have zero faith in because it's such a high min price, people want to try to pump it as much as possible and get out as fast as they can. And then people will paper hands on the way down, which will drive the price back to mint or below. So I'm looking at Claynosaurus long term. It's on my radar, but it's one of those things I'm going to probably pick up a couple weeks after mint.
Yeah. You know, I think it goes back to a door that I just want to feel something. That's what I get with minting. Like, it was so much fun minting Lily and Pop Heads. Lily, I knew was more of a sure play. Pop Heads was just like, there's so many traits, and I just wanted to see what I would get.
I love the traits on Pop Heads.
I think eventually Pop Heads will make a great return back to prominence. I think it will be a top 12 by volume project again. It was unfortunate that Lily was so close behind it. I think a lot of people were focused on Lily, but Pophead still just has some of the best art on this ecosystem, and people are underrating it. Nonetheless, Claynosaurus has me interested, where I would mint one or two, not minting multiple. I'm not minting 20 like I did with Popheads. But I just want to feel something, you know? And I think that's one of the sentiments that when I was on spaces with a lot of people, prominent people in the ecosystem, they're in the same boat. They're like, bro, I just want to mint something and have fun, and things are slower moving. Like, Lily took 2 hours to mint out. You know, in a bull market, that thing would have been botted to hell. Even on dynamic pricing, they would have found a way to bot it. It would have been sold out in 2 seconds, and it would have been no fun for anybody. People would have been mad at it and everything like that. It was a fun minting experience. Like, we got on a mint party with Bunjil on a Twitter Spaces, and it was fun. It was fun. So I think this is a really fun time to mint. I'm not saying it's a profitable way to go about it. I think secondary will still be the play, just like it was on Lily. Like, they went down to 4 soul pre-reveal. And I think we'll see the same thing with Claynosaurus, which is where I will save most of my liquidity for. But minting something's fun. Joe, what are you going to do?
Sorry.
No, go ahead, Joe. I've run my mouth enough on this show. Go ahead, dog.
Listen, you know me, I'm a pre-sale guy because I don't know why. I just like to get in early, and I try my bag there. So I did get a small bag of pre-sales here for Claynosaurus at a small discount. It was like 9 soul or 8 soul, I think, a piece for the lot that I got. So yeah, I'm looking to hopefully offload a few of those into liquidity off of secondary initially, and then hold the rest. So hopefully get, you know, a partial 30 to 40% of my buy-in back, and then hold the rest and see what happens. Because I am bullish on this project for sure. I mean, nothing has come to this stature. Their lineup, the people on the team, like, their literal proof of work is insane. So definitely going to be holding my pre-sales. And honestly, you know me as a trader, I might hold if things are looking great. I'll hold them and maybe pick a few more up on secondary. So we'll see. We'll see what price action looks like.
Yeah, absolutely. Dor, what's up? Sorry for cutting you off.
No, dude. I'd love to hear Joe speak, because his takes are always top tier. So no problem at all, man. I was just gonna say, for Claynosaurus, I'm interested to see. I'm hoping that there's a significant variation of art. Some of the previews, I mean, of course, everybody shows like some of the best previews, but one of the things that these newer projects such as Lily and Popheads have been doing is having such a high variance where, like, there's really barely anything that looks the same. So that's what I'm really hoping for Claynosaurus, because I think it'll be kind of hard to differentiate a 10K collection of dinosaurs. So I'm interested to see how everything turns out.
Yeah, I think one of the things you have to note with Claynosaurus too, if you guys are listening on podcast or whether you're watching live on stream, is know that they do have like a leveling system. I don't know if you guys seen that, but they do have like armors that are coming with it. I'll see if I can pull up the tweet so anybody watching can see, or watching the playback can see. But that was the one thing that I was like, okay, all right, I'm interested now, because now you have a reason to hold. There's going to be some sort of like gamified staking maybe, or, you know, whatever that just incentivizes people to hold. And so we see a lot less listings when it comes out. And I think that's one of the things that I'm excited for with Lily. It's one of the reasons that, like, I want to see how much time there is between. There will be holder rewards, right? Like, it won't just be 1-on-1 legendaries. Like, there will be further rewards down the road. So you are going to want to hold them, but I think that we'll see a little bit of a retracement, and I'll get in on that retracement. But yeah, this leveling system, you can get like armors and stuff on it. And that's where I was like, okay, like, I'm interested now. And it looks like they have different classes too. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up my screen real quick. See if it'll load. Go ahead and share. All right. So if you look at this, you can see there's going to be different classes. So you have like a tracker, a gatherer, a warrior. And that's just like 3 of them. So there's going to be different ones, and you can level them up so the armor evolves with it. I think there's fun mechanics behind it that I definitely want to see what is going on there. It's one of the reasons that I will wait. Like you said, Dor, I think I just don't trust this community enough. They also, Adam 8 approves. That's usually a good sign that we want to ape in, right? But nonetheless, just really good stuff over here. Very curious to see how it all plays out. We'll see if Solana can handle this. But yeah, we'll see how it all plays out, man. I want to see this leveling system. I want to see the different classes. I think it's enough variation that it might not look like it when you mint it, but if you go through the leveling system, I think there will be enough variation that you're going to be like, oh shit, I see the difference now. And that could be where you make the real money. So if you're more of a medium-term holder, see if you can get a good entry post-mint. See if, pre-reveal dip happens, then you can grab that. It's probably going to be where I enter.
I got to look at the vesting schedule as well for 5+ claims, because I think that will also tell us kind of what the first 48 hours will look like price action wise. I have to look into that because I think that's a good thing to check out, because we do have a lot of big name guy Boogles, big brand. A lot of these guys are having massive pre-sale allocations. Supposedly it's supposed to be capped at like 50 or 25 or something, but I know a lot of these guys are getting more than that. So I just always like to look at the vesting schedule on these to make sure that we're not getting dumped on right away, and then kind of either play it for the inevitable dumping, a few sold down from mint, or vesting's tight where no dumping happens and they actually have a invested interest to push the floor price higher as whales. So that's kind of, we can either go both ways with that. So I'd like to get that vesting in, and then we'll relay that to you guys. I guess, you know what, I think I can add, because Dorian and Bison throw so much into this show, guys, and I really don't add much on the back end. I think I can at least do like maybe a small thread just with kind of our top key points that are coming out, like alpha that we drop, something just like for you guys, and then I'll send it over to Bison to post on the RareFUD, because I got to add a little more spice in here, because Bison and Dor are killing it, man. Killing it. The clips Dorian has on the back end right now, crazy. Wait till you guys start seeing these things, man.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. I'm excited to get the short game going, but yeah, let's go into Alpha Corner. Just 5 minutes, quick lightning round of what you guys are looking at, if anything. I will tell you right now, my eyes are all on Lily until we start seeing Clannosaurus start rolling. I am looking to eventually figure out a blue chip I want to get involved with. At these prices, it just, if it goes to zero, it goes to zero. I doubt it will. SMB will always hold historical value. I think Tayo is building something that can't be ignored. And I think, Utes will eventually come around too. And I think I'm more interested in Utes. I know Dorian is like, I would rather get a D-Gods, but I think Utes has, D-Gods is safer. Utes has more of the allure and mystery to it that I think, who knows what's going to come with the staking rewards, right? And I think that's the kind of play I'd like to do. But yeah, I think that's really it. I'm looking at all these new mints because they're so few and far between. I think they're so top notch that I am interested in just trading those right now and stacking Soul. That's all I want to do. I want to stack Soul right now. Let's kick it over to you, Dorian, then we'll go with Joe. Oh, Dor, are you muted? We'll go over to Joe first.
Yeah, so alpha wise, not too crazy right now. Just my eyes are to top 12 traded collections, and I look for any arbitrage opportunities on the daily just to see if Hyperspace or Emmy are having a sell instantly that is higher than the actual floor. So looking for those, which are there sometimes if you just click around and you're on it in the morning. And other than that, man, I actually do want to find one more Lotus and one more Lily. The 1-to-1 I'm looking at seems to be pretty looking for a Lotus and another Lily, I think. And I think I might want to go for another a Gen 1 tie.
Yeah.
If I can get in. Hoping for the best, maybe. Thinking about maybe that would be my option, because we're right around 88 Soul for a loan, and you fund that, say you don't get, you're looking at a Tayo for under 90. And say you do get it back, then you get 4 or 5 Soul back. And with this pump into the mint and pilots and such, I might be looking for or a loan play on Tayo.
That's a
But other than that,
really good idea.
but B.
Yeah, that's a really good idea, Joe. I might start funding some loans for Tyos.
You know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
honestly, bro, I'm looking at it too. Oil, like, God forbid, yeah, okay, you pay me back, great. I make my 4 or 5 sold, right? Okay, cool. And if you don't, then I'm getting an absolute undervalued project at an undervalued price, like 40, 50% off floor. So
Yeah.
in my head, where Sol is right now, that it doesn't really. I don't care about the fluctuation really. If it goes to 15 or down to 10, like honestly, I don't. I think that value prop is there, and to anybody listening, it's a tricky game to mess with lending. So don't do this if you do. But Bison's that's been in the game for a long time and understands the nuances better than I even do. When it comes, I think there's some advantageous plays, brother. They're really
Yeah. Right now I'm seeing the best off.
Positions of strength at that point, B. It's just like, yeah, you want one, but you don't want to pay the price they're at now. Great. All right, I'll fund this loan and get my soul back. If not, I get one anyway that I wanted at the price that I wanted it at. It's
Yeah.
kind of like,
That's super smart. I'm actually gonna look into it. Right now, the best loan you can get is 111 souls. So maybe I wait for that to go down. I'd like for it to be at like the 100 mark tops.
definitely.
But yeah, if I can take advantage of that, I mean, it's a 14-day duration too. So the chances of me actually funding one and getting one is probably pretty slim. But if so, I mean, what's the harm there,
Exactly.
Dor, welcome back.
Yeah, dog. I don't know what was going on. Actually, I do know what happened. My mic died.
I hate when that happens. Dor, what you looking at on secondary, and then we'll wrap up the show.
Secondary, man, I want to say like 4x4 and supply chain voxel, but those ain't coming down. Those are long gone.
They took off on Dor. I can't believe it, brother. They took off 60 soul almost for both. What?
Yeah, man. People are starting to wake up to Adam, and I like closer to mint, dog. I think 4x4 is really going to pump, man. Like Adam just knows what he's doing, and I'm like so bullish on him. And I told you, it's like it crossed my mind several times to floor everything so I can pick up a box of monkey, and I still think about it.
Yeah, those things are just so hard to come by, bro. That was the first thing I looked for once I sold my Ute. I was like, I will literally drop so much money on a voxel monkey.
Dude, you could have had the Ute to a voxel monkey. That'd have been the most legendary trade of all time, B. If that was still posted for like the 400 or something soul that was up there, and you were able to flip that nouns to I would have, bro, you could have quit and walked away. Just been like, all right, I'm done.
I know. I was looking for it. I almost got that. There's one that was listed for 400, and they delisted it like the morning after I sold. So when I woke up, I looked for it and I couldn't find it, and I was sad. But that's okay. We'll figure it out. But yeah, okay. I think that about wraps it up. Dor, unless you want to add anything else to your secondary plays.
Scrap. Just like I'm not going to call bottoms here because I have no idea, but I just think because Pilot's Mint's coming up, even right now is a good entry. So yeah, that's it. Just scrap.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Sounds good.
Phil, I think we missed it. Probably entry 0.05, 0.06, but they did release Purgatory, which is like 600 and some NFTs, 88 filth a ticket for a raffle. They're all big name NFTs, blue chip. So we've already seen a pump on filth up to like 0.08. So I'm not sure if that's advantageous, but look out for that. That might be some buying pressure as this gets put out more. The NFT Eyes link for the wallet that's holding all these giveaways was posted. And I think it's going to be daily giveaways for like years, I guess, because they have 600 NFTs. So I don't know exactly how long this will go on for, but so that should be interesting for filth as well. So yeah, those 3 SPLs, keep an eye on, guys.
Yeah. Bro, hyperspace is such a tease, dude. I was just looking at voxel monkeys and they say one's listed for 5 soul. I was like, no shot. I can't find it anywhere. There's no shot. It's a sick one too. It's so sick. Okay. That about wraps it up for our show. Dude, I think we talked about a lot of good plays that I think have a lot of upside. Please make sure you subscribe to the channel. We are on the new RareFUD Radio channel. About 3 weeks now, and I know a lot of people that are watching do not subscribe. So please go ahead and do that. Click that subscribe button. Dorian will be coming out with shorts from the show. We'll be working on that to get you more short form content, to talk about more poignant points we made throughout the show. Please listen on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. We are on there as well. We do post the episode pretty much within an hour of going live. And then follow us on all of our socials. It is all through Linktree, /RareFUD Radio. You can find everything there. So if you guys have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us via Twitter. It's probably the best way to reach us. And then, hope you have a great rest of your day. We will be trying to do a show tomorrow for missing Thursday. Thursday is Thanksgiving for us here in the States, if you guys are watching from elsewhere. And so we will be with friends and family. But we'll get to you on a time. Make sure you're following us on Twitter for that time. It sounds like it's going to be about noon. So we'll shoot for noon, and then we'll just be doing a fun show tomorrow. Since we talked about most of our relevant market updates today, tomorrow's going to be a fun show. So make sure you stop in for that, and we'll see you next time on RareFUD Radio. Thank you so much for watching and your continued support, and have a great day.
Peace, everybody.